what would be the biggest challenge you've seen? I mean, you work as a leader in big organization, especially in the setup where you were working for a principal.
People part, your processes, which is basically the fundamental of, how stable it is or how ad hoc it is.
You're saying, not really, because the need, what you need is basically let's do a bridging way or slowly have a system which is
I'm a great fan of improvisation, right? I don't believe that.
Thoughts, folks.
Yes.
Let me know in comments who are you with, Himani or me. Again, a quickfire question is totally random. It doesn't have to make sense.
Is there a gift hamper?
There's a gift hamper. So if you have to go for a report to, right, between Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, let's call it Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, which one you will pick to work for as a boss and why?
Steve Jobs is dead. Bill Gates, I wouldn't go to.
Why? What is the one advice you will give to younger self?
Leave India earlier than what I actually did.
This video is brought to you by us, SCMDOJO. We provide awesome courses, guides, best practices for supply chain community. Hi folks, welcome to one more episode of Supply Chain Show. As you know, in this show, I bring one of the leading people in supply chain, who've been here doing fantastic stuff, changing the world, making our supply chains better, i.e. making our lives better. I met Himani, I think a few years ago in Johnson & Johnson, and I was very impressed with the knowledge she possesses in supply chain, especially in this region. So in this episode today, we'll talk about the supply chain challenges and also opportunities which Himani has faced in her job as a FMCG or the leader in the organization. So without any further ado, Himani, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Good. So thank you very much for your time. I know you're super busy these days. You're traveling a lot and you got a lot of projects. So I appreciate your time here.
Thank you so much.
So just quick introductions to people who don't know you.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Himani. I'm an Indian, originally working in the Middle East for the last 5 years. I have spent over 23 years in various parts of supply chain across end-to-end, having worked with companies like Muddassir, Castrol and Johnson & Johnson. As we speak, I'm working with Miebach Consulting as one of the senior principals.
And what's your prime focus on Miebach these days?
So my focus in Miebach is to actually build practice around supply chain planning and digital, which I believe are some of the key needs for this region.
Data is a big word. So let's pick few, let's call it streams on data, like.
Sure.
That means process mining, data mining. What do you say?
No, so I think there are a couple of areas which I believe, 4 or 5 key technology solutions which I believe are actually important for this region.
Okay.
To start with, I'm going to talk about master data management. And I think that's an important area.
Definitely.
Because most of the companies, and in my time as a consultant, I've seen quite a few companies and even earlier as well, I think lots of companies struggle with master data management.
Sure.
And that is a fundamental. That's literally the backbone of your digital practice. So It doesn't matter what you do.
Correct.
You would not get benefit of your digital practices or any investments until your master data is sorted.
Right.
So I think that is the fundamental piece, and I would want to focus on that to start with. I think it's an important need for this region as well. The second one that I would want to focus on is planning solutions.
Right.
And of course, there are different kinds of planning solutions, but I think for this region, demand planning is the most important one across all planning aspects.
Sure.
We are largely a trading setup. Yeah. We are mostly buying stuff, and more than 80% of what we sell in UAE or even in largely Middle East is actually imported from other countries. So demand planning is so critical. So an advanced planning solution largely focused on demand planning, but of course, depending on the company's needs, it could be supply planning, it could be many other areas as well. So I think that would be the second area of focus that I would want to do at. Given that we have huge logistics setups in the region, a WMS.
Yes.
A strong WMS that really helps you make your processes efficient. Focus on the accuracy and efficiency of the overall operations, I think would be another area to focus on. The fourth thing I would say is advanced analytics.
Very good.
Taking data and making sense out of that. All the companies have so much data, and I think very few are really able to take insights out of it.
Most of it, right? Okay, that leads to the main topic, the challenges part, right? So I think you very rightly described the 4 areas of the focus I need. The demand management, the warehousing piece, the analytics piece, right, and master data piece. Great. So, what would be the biggest challenges you've seen? I mean, you work as a leader in big organization, especially in the setup where you were working for a principal. Principal means is a company who actually are the provider of the goods and basically shipping through the distributors who are the key distributing partner in the region. So, let's start from, let's call it top 3.
Right. So, just like the tripod of this camera here that we are, recording on, Muddassir, I believe that there is a tripod of success for supply chain, right?
Tripod of success.
And the tripod of success is your capabilities, which is how good your team is, your talent, people part, your processes, which is basically the fundamental of, how stable it is or how ad hoc it is, depending on, what is your maturity of your process.
Standard works,
and the third is the size and the stability of your systems or assets, which could include your logistics assets, trucking, warehousing, etc., or your IT systems, which could be around, any kind of digital aspects that we just spoke about. So this is the tripod of success. You can't work with any one or two. You have to have a good mix of all the 3 to really be able to, be a successful supply chain function or transformation. And of course, these things take years, right? So I'm going to start with people first. And that's my most favorite area. And, so many times in the region, I see these JDs cut out for a specific role. And I feel that everybody is out to hire talent to fit into an organization's need. But I believe supply chain teams are not hired, but built. They built over a period of time and through multiple mechanisms. One of them is repeated cycles of action and reflection. Now, that's an important aspect, right? When you do something and you fail, or it doesn't work the way you expected it to be, it gives you unexpected results. The most important thing is reflection. How do you reflect upon it and then go back to it and do it again?
Yeah, but it's interesting. I think you're the only person, when we talk about in people, when we're talking about reflection in this region, especially I've been here 6 years as well, is not used in conversations ever. So you're the first person who used that. So I'm very intrigued of this, how you actually go about talking about reflection of actions of your teams, because everybody is just about action.
Yeah, supply chain makes us very action biased, it does happen. You're always about, okay, what next and what next. And having spent a huge amount of time in planning and logistics, and I can tell you that my best learnings have come from the failures that I've had and the reflections that I have done on those. And of course, I got the time and the bandwidth from my leaders to be able to do it, rather than saying, okay, this person is a failure and, let's not, invest further or don't give them additional time or, anything else. So that's how you build supply chain talent. You give them time to reflect, and that's where original thinking comes. Otherwise, you're just basically doing more of the same. It's a bit like, running on the treadmill and expecting to reach really far. It doesn't happen. Right? So you have to build inherent talent. You have to give them that space and time to actually focus on action and then reflect upon it and go. And it's a journey of improvisation. It doesn't start with perfection, and there is no perfection in the end either. No. But it's about how you improvise. And, I have lived through cycles when I've actually stocked out on seasonal products in the middle of the season as a planner, or have been left with huge stock at the end of a season or with a promotion. And, if I didn't reflect on those, I would not be able to do it better the next time. So it's just an example. So that's an important aspect of building your talent. And one area that I feel this region is, we have great logistics talent, especially because, we've had good warehousing structures, and, Middle East has been literally the center for all of this action. But the one type of talent that we really miss in supply chains here is the planning talent. I believe that the organizations in the Middle East really need to wake up to the need of good supply chain talent, build it as they go along, because that's where they will really be able to unlock the value. Because, there is only that much that logistics asset and that cost control can lead you to. Because in isolation, when you see it, it doesn't work. But we know supply chain planning is the nerve center, right? And if you don't have good planning talent, you would not be able to get better availability, lower working capital, or, cost reductions beyond a reasonable limit. So I think that would be one area of focus. I would definitely suggest leaders to focus on supply chain planning and the talent that needs to go with it.
So that's done. Now we move to the process part. I think we emphasize on processes a lot, right? But given the, I would call it, intricacies in the region, right? Because the process for how you do business for Saudi is slightly different. How you do for Kuwait, how you do for Egypt, how do you do I mean, even within Emirates, there is a different way of doing things, and everybody have their own requirements, right? So that means you one size doesn't fits all.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And for example, I was working with Bridgestone. To go and ship to Egypt, you have to go to embassy to get a stamp or something, which is like ridiculous, a unique thing to do, but it happens, right? So how you want to customize, you want to create standard set of processes, right? Or best practices, you want to call it, but at the same time, you want to customize it for the individual need. So how you do that?
So I think there is a bit of a delicate balance between the two from that point of view. And I agree, I know when I came to Middle East initially and I saw the plethora of exceptions that we had to a standard process, I was shocked. There was no standard process really per se. So I think it's an important area for us to really focus on. Anything that is regulatory, there is nothing that you can walk away from, right? So you have to do it. Yeah. If it's related to the quality of the product, again, that's not something that you can walk away from. But often I find that there are things which are created as exception for the process, which is not really benefiting either regulatory or quality or the customer. So if you really look at your process from that lens, and say, these are my exceptions from the process. And is it regulatory? No. Is it quality? No. Is it helping my customer in any way? Because eventually, as a business, that's what we are, right? We are in the service of the customer. Or is it just making somebody's life easier because, I'm doing this and he or she doesn't have to do it on the other side? And when you look at it from that lens, you might have your aha moment. And you might say, okay, I can live with these exceptions and these are the exceptions I cannot. So there's good complexity and bad complexity. And I think you need to really differentiate between the two. And, work your way through removing the bad complexity and living with the good complexity. And the other part I feel is that, where it really helps a lot is segmentation. When you segment your customer or their needs, depending on either the channel or the kind of customers that they have, or the kind of
segmentation is like kind of ABC or strategic or non-strategic, or how you?
No, it's about the customer segmentation. So you look at your customers and you say, based on their specific needs, you segment your customers.
Right.
And then you channel so one supply chain is not one supply chain, right? There are multiple flows.
Right.
How do you channel those flows? For example, when you look at Saudi, in Saudi, there is, let's say, look at hospital segment, because I came from J&J. So there is NAPCO, which is like the big buyer, right? And the way NAPCO behaves, nobody else behaves. Then there are the private hospitals. The way they behave, that's one channel or one segment. There's nothing which is happening very similar to anywhere else.
Sure.
And then there are some standalone semi-government institutes, who are actually sometimes behaving as government and sometimes behaving as private.
Sure.
So you kind of look at them as a different segment. And all of them have different needs. Somebody does bulk buying, somebody does very small quantity buying. Somebody needs high shelf life, somebody is okay to live with lower shelf life but wants faster service.
Sure.
So your flows have to go in line with the needs of your customer and work through that. And each supply chain has multiple flows. It's important for us to identify those flows.
And then design your supply chain according to those
exactly.
purposes. Okay, now let's move to the third one, right? So we covered people, we covered the processes, and the third one is?
Systems and assets.
Assets, right?
Yeah.
So, but system and assets, the way I see that is, we got this, I think, excessive obsession here to customize system. And if we work in Europe, you work in India, the idea is, of course, you have to do some level of customization, and you should do, I think, if you need to. But rather than change the system, which is designed around the best practices of how to do good, run your business, you customize it so much, then the next person who comes in wouldn't have a clue what you've customized for. And even the original software provider says, you know what, it's not the same thing we sold you. We have to do it again, right? So, and I don't really understand it, and I wouldn't encourage it. So the idea would be, once you choose to use any system, doesn't matter, ERP system, demand forecasting system, WMS system, whatever, right? My suggestion will be is to do the right blueprint do all the change management part to change your business processes to fit to the, as let's call it, original system architecture, rather than changing the system to your business architecture, which is ever so fluid anyway. That's my perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I have a little bit of a controversial
view on this.
Oh,
can't
so
wait to hear that.
yes. So I think there are two fundamental reasons for my views on this. The first thing that
what is the view?
The first thing is
view is coming.
Yes. Okay. I'll tell you why it's view. The first thing is because I believe each supply chain is unique. Like, in a way.
Oh, each love is
some
unique.
ways.
Every relationship is unique.
No. Yeah, each supply chain is unique in some ways.
I disagree.
In some ways, right? Because you may be a chocolate seller, for example, but one chocolate seller wants to increase the reach, the other wants to be premium. So depending on your business strategy, you will need to then set your supply chain. Both of them are selling chocolates. So one of them is selling it at few pennies, and the other one is actually putting it few dollars as mark, right? And one of them wants to be only available in premium markets, and other one wants to maximize the reach it has. And because of your business needs, your supply chain is unique. That's why, not otherwise. Otherwise it's just a standard thing, right? You just have to put material in a truck and send it out.
I think it's this excessive obsession. Okay, people ask me, can you recommend a demand plan? I said, yeah, I know a demand planner who works in a Schneider Electric. No, I need somebody from pharma.
Like, that I agree. Don't agree. That I am not.
Bullshit.
No. So those are transferable.
Really different. Supply chain is transferable because it's a standard way of doing things.
Yeah.
The way you do materials management, the way you do category strategy, the way you do probably demand forecasting, the way you do.
But the way you design it is different.
Is different to the product market you are serving, right? But the best practices doesn't really change.
The other thing which my view is that all of these big supply chain vendors who have actually created these big supply chain or expensive products are actually they made it for global organizations, right?
Mainly expensive ones.
They made it for global organizations. So when it's not easy to really superimpose that on a relatively smaller organization which one does not need so many
Definition
functionalities.
Of smaller here is?
Depending on, for example, let's say a Saudi business, somebody who's a distributor business in Saudi.
200 people, 100 million riyal sales.
Maybe somebody who's just operating in, let's say, Saudi Arabia.
Okay, cool.
Vis-a-vis, let's say, a Johnson & Johnson, which operates in 200 countries, right?
Got it.
So the needs are very different. Here you have 5 levels of planning systems, and you have that complexity. Somebody who's just operating, let's say, KSA in the kingdom, you don't need that kind of complexity.
Sure.
What you need is something very different.
Sure.
And neither are you making that kind of money to pay top dollars for big, So I believe depending on the size and complexity of your business, you should want to go for maybe a customized solution rather than, let's say, take something top of the shelf and then customize it. A relatively midline, solution which helps you automate your. And the other thing is that remember the maturity of a process is not as high. So the change management, it would be so much that sometimes it just might lead to failure. So it's better to do slowly. Say okay, have a bridge system. Let's say have a bridge system. So I'm nowhere. So instead of going to the top of the line, how about I have a bridge system
and
I move there?
It's going to cost more if you go this one.
Yeah, but it is over a long period of time, and you would have gotten benefits of both. Because you take a bridge system, you run it for, let's say, 5-6 years, and you've taken value out of it, and now your process is ready. Your people are ready for the next level,
so basically,
next step. It's a bit like going into steps.
So your positioning is slightly contrary to mine.
Yes.
Where I am saying stick to the best in breed system and customize your processes to fit the system because it's designed to do well. You're saying not really, because the need what you need is basically let's do a bridging way. Or slowly have a system which is
I'm a great fan of improvisation, right? I don't believe that.
Thoughts, folks.
Yes.
Let me know in comments who are you with, Himani or me. Yes. I need to know.
So I believe that there is no perfect solution for anything. It's always you're always in different states. It's a bit like you go to the base camp or you go to the Mount Everest. You first go to the base camp,
of course
and then you get attuned to it. Then you come back, and then next year you prepare, and then you go to.
The issue with customization, it leads to the first two issues which you start at the point you mentioned, which is poor master data management.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay. Well,
I mean, I can tell you that companies running SAP have messed up master data.
Yeah, but the thing with the customization is if even you write in the blueprint, and if you stop working with the vendors or the two people who actually help you design the custom part, left for bigger and better places, then people are screwed.
I know. So,
Right?
so there are risks on both approaches.
And I've seen it multiple times. This happening. Multiple.
So,
anyway,
but
so,
I think there is a bridge system, and I believe that usually would work more appropriate for specific businesses. Once again, of course, if I'm a global organization, I would not go for anything except for what is top of the line, and look at best practices. But remember, and this is a published number by McKinsey, right? 70% of the companies, global companies, have not been able to get investments back from their digital solutions. Why is that?
I don't know. Tell me.
That's because they don't work as well.
All right, that's a good thought. We'll come back to that. So to summarize the 3 points, the process, Himani talks about reflection, which was very interesting for me. We talk about processes, which is, yes,
good
you should have it,
and bad
complexity. And then you talked about the good and bad complexity. And you also talked about, very interestingly, about customizing to the each step of the supply chain you're serving.
Bridge solution.
And the system-wise, you talk about, okay, let's go for custom screw standard. Right, that's what he said.
I'm not saying that.
That's what she said.
No, I'm saying I'm
making it black and white. I'm just making it black and white.
It's not. That's exactly why it is. There is no black and white. There's multiple shades of grey in between,
I'm just
but yes,
50 shades of
I
grey. I'm
got
just
it.
messing
Yeah.
with you. I'm just messing with you. Right. Okay, now let's lead nicely to our quickfire. New segment we are introducing for us. I think the second time I'm doing this.
Okay.
Then a quickfire question is totally random. It doesn't have to make sense.
Okay.
Right? Don't apply your logical thinking. But let's
whatever comes to my mind first.
But it has to be quickfire. Quick answers, right?
Course.
Okay.
Is there a gift hamper?
There's a gift hamper. The gift hamper is a selfie with me. I'll share on LinkedIn.
Okay,
right.
Great.
So that's a gift hamper. But we can negotiate later as well.
Absolutely.
Right. Unless you have something demands, let me know. Right. So the first one is, okay, if you what is the most weirdest thing you have actually moved in supply chain?
Weirdest no, I don't know.
Pass. Okay.
Pass.
Move to the next one.
Think of
okay.
Weird,
so if there is a theme song of supply chain, what it would be?
I don't know. What's love got to do with it?
Okay. I thought you would say the supply chain rap produced by SCMDOJO. But anyway.
I've heard that. I heard that, but I'm not good with music, guys. Sorry about that.
That's fine. Okay. So if you have to go for a report to, right, between Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, let's call it Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, which one you will pick to work for as a boss? And why?
Steve Jobs is dead. Bill Gates, I wouldn't go to.
Why?
He's tainted.
Okay. All right. So we left with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. I mean, I really admire Jeff Bezos for the, for the product that he's created, Amazon. Yeah. But I think I would go for Elon Musk. I mean, it's as good as it gets, right? I mean, it's totally unpredictable. That's what you don't know what to expect next. Okay. So I think that's where
Elon Musk
would give you the most bang for your buck, I would say.
So, Mr. Editor, show my song somewhere in the question below, and also Elon Musk pictured. Right. Okay. Now the third and the last one we would say is following. Not the last one. Oracle SAP.
Neither actually.
What? Okay, don't answer. Don't explain why.
I'm not explaining.
That's the dish.
Yeah, bridge system. Remember?
All right, so neither SAP.
No, I think they both have their functionalities and they're both good. I mean, it's difficult to pick. Okay. Yeah, I mean, SAP has actually gone. I worked on BAN and JDE.
But BAN is pretty good.
It used to be, right?
I
really
matrix,
feel that.
Matrix
I really wish we had more competition in this market of ERP. I think it's become a duopoly today.
It is a duopoly.
I'm not happy with that.
I think I'm backing up Odoo here. I'm not promoting Odoo. Never paid me. Yeah. I'm Zoho, Odoo. I'm backing them up. Indian company, Belgian company, we should
definitely have more competition in the ERP market. I agree.
They should.
Yeah.
Now, so if you have a bad day in supply chain, we could have.
Always.
You have to pick a fight in the office because you just want to do that. And you have a choice between marketing function, sales function, finance function. Which one you pick? Doesn't matter who works there.
Pick a fight.
You have to pick a fight.
With one of them?
One of the functions.
I think sales.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
The easiest to deal with. Give them stock and it's done.
There's an right, but so you're gonna pick a fight.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah, I mean,
easy
I've done it
people.
all the time,
Yeah,
right?
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, no, they are the toughest customers.
Yes, yes.
But
Right.
the demands are very simple.
Right. That leads to my last quick fire question
Yes.
of if you have, what is the most craziest customer request I've ever received?
Craziest customer request.
You have received. I'm sure you deal with few.
I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything.
Really?
I'm sure there are, but I
Yeah.
can't recall. I'm
Any?
quite getting old.
You're getting old. That's
Memory is not serving me right.
right. Okay, no comments there. Right? She said it, I didn't.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What is the, because she mentioned of old, I can ask this question. What is the one advice you will give to younger self?
My younger self, I think I'm pretty happy with most of the decisions I've made in my career, I would say. I think if it was one decision I would want to change is to leave India earlier than what I actually did.
Oh, why is that?
Exposure.
So yeah,
I think it really makes a difference.
that would be the advice.
Yeah.
Leave India early. People.
Get out and about, basically.
Okay, basically,
Look at-
expose
explore
yourself
and
to
expose.
multiple.
Expose
All right.
yourself to different
All right.
markets. It always helps. I think very different perspectives.
It's-
It helps you grow much better as a person, supply chain person, everything actually.
Anyway, we're lucky to have you in supply chain. I think you're fantastic. We love your
Thank you
post.
so
I love
much.
your post.
Thank
I think
you.
what you do, I think what I like about you and your post is you are super genuine. There's nothing pretentious about you.
Thank you so
Which is a
much.
lot of people wants to be somebody which they're not.
Thank you.
Right, and I absolutely admire this. Thank you for joining.
Pleasure.
Right, folks. So thank you for Himani's time. Thanks for you for watching. If you lasted that long, hopefully you liked our new segment of Quickfire. If you do send me some questions to ask my next guest. Take care. Ciao.
Bye bye.